Quick review of spending like the last week being sick. Might be Karanga 19, probably not. Anyway, I'm in bed. I can't get the fuck out of bed. Here's my ThinkPad. I'm really happy I have a laptop because I can just have my ThinkPad in bed and have RuneScape on my fucking ThinkPad. Then that's my table where I wish I was sitting right now. I have Burger King because I needed sweets and I did not want to order delivery yesterday because I'm brain dead. And yeah, that's being sick. I'm just fucking bored and I don't have any energy to do anything. But even if I wasn't sick, I wouldn't have any energy to do anything. Even if I was completely healthy, I would just do nothing. That's all the same, really. That's all the same. 言葉ちょうだい心いライフ白く家をなしライライ今日采配お手つきは一回ご満載ゾンビがスイングしてあの音たどり着くは地獄青い月の渦巻き役はとダンスアンドゥとジャンプソナギクラジックああ博打星なしハラハラしたい漫画モラリストロンリネス本能純粋なマレージュ振り逃げランニングホームラン番外列ゲーム混沌の沼を抜けI have this fantasy. One day I wake up, I look at my dog and I feel like that's my dog. And I talk to a friend and I feel like that's my friend. And I look back on my life and go like, hey, that's been my life. 2020 was the best year of my life. At the start of the year, I was still reeling from a betrayal so devastating that it had ruined the entirety of 2019 from me and had severely alienated most of my friends for the duration of that year. At the end of 2020, I was vaping myself nauseous every single day because I had no other way to cope with the fact that I had to put my cat down, who I had had for my entire life, and to deal with the knowledge that if I had known what to look for, and if I had been more attentive, it all could have been prevented. Hospitals are prisons they use to punish the genetic underclass of people who have bad health or those unlucky enough to have contracted a health problem. Why do you think you can't have fun in a hospital? Why do you think they don't let you use your computer at the hospital? Why do you think they control your entire fucking life when you're in a fucking hospital? Not because of any fucking sensible reason, not because any objectively true reason. No, it's because hospitals are used to punish the fucking genetic underclasses. Hospitals are concentration camps at worst, and at best you can just call them prisons if you want to fucking lie to yourself. If you want to fucking lie to yourself. The medical profession is just focused on brainwashing you into thinking they matter. Why do you think people think it's bad to fucking cut yourself? Why do people think it's bad to cut yourself? Because it's unhealthy. It's because the medical establishment does not want it. Because what the medical establishment is built for is to propagate the capitalist system or the communist system, depending on wherever the fuck your philosophy is. Because right now we don't have a communist system, but communist system will not fucking establish medicine. It will just fucking use it for its own purposes. Medicine is made to inflate the fucking perceived quality of life of the people living in a specific fucking place, right? Medicine, the medical institutions are used so countries can say that they have fucking people who live longer and have fucking less disease and whatever the fuck, because people are programmed to think that disease and fucking health problems and dying young is bad. Doctors are fucking just tools to oppress you. Doctors are just cops. Doctors are fucking cops. Doctors don't have any special mystical powers. They just have the legal privilege to prescribe you medicine, and they have the legal privilege to withhold their fucking medicine even if you fucking need it because they don't like you or they don't believe you or they just have a fucking personal vendetta. No matter what, doctors can just decide that you should die, and oftentimes they do it. They do it constantly. All they want to do is fix health problems so the capitalist system has more fucking workers to fucking generate more revenue and generate more GDP and consume more fucking products. None of the fucking world exists to help you. None of the world exists to help you. All of the world exists to keep you trapped in the fucking world. It's not fucking bad to self-harm. It's only bad because it's inconvenient. You get persecuted for it. And it's just fucking hard to deal with. Why did I deserve to, when I was 14, to be imprisoned in a mental hospital for slightly scratching myself with a ruler too hard? And fucking, why did I think it would help? And why did I think that the moment I was out of the fucking hospital, I wouldn't just keep cutting myself repeatedly over and over again until I literally ran out of space to cut myself in? Why did they think any of it would be relevant? Because it's what helps people fucking sleep at night. It's because people don't like to confront the fact that some people are just fucked. People don't like to confront the fact that some people can't live a happy life, so they give those people to fucking psychiatrists and mental hospitals and hope it works because they just don't want to see the fucking people who they consider to be too disgusting to fucking see. People just want to fucking avoid you. That's why mental health exists. It's because normies don't want to fucking see you. Normies want you to be dead but can't fucking admit it to themselves, so they put you in a fucking mental hospital and give you fucking drugs so they don't have to confront the fact that you are suffering. So let's talk about the laughing gas conspiracy. So laughing gas is a drug. It's always been used recreationally, but right now it's only really used recreationally. It's used as an anesthetic in some limited situations, but not really in most Western countries. However, like a century ago or whatever, it was like the big fucking anesthetic, right? It was the anesthetic that everyone used. So when you look into laughing gas, right, uh, most official sources will tell you that it has two effects. One, mild hallucinations. Two, it functions as an aphrodisiac. So it seems like, okay, it's a drug, right? These are effects it could have. It's feasible that this substance could cause mild hallucinations and some degree of like fucking sexual excitement or whatever the fuck, right? But when you look into it, right, when you look into laughing gas, there's not really that much empirical proof of either of these effects happening. It's not really documented to an extent that you would expect it to be documented. So you see laughing gas, you see it has these anesthetic properties, right? It has these euphoric properties. These are well documented. But as a hallucinogen, as a aphrodisiac, right? It's just some specific studies that conjecture how it could have those effects, basically. Why is this? Why does every source basically claim that this substance has those effects when they're not really backed up that well? Well, turns out that a bunch of lawsuits happened where doctors were sued by their young female patients, right? And those patients said that, hey, while I was under the effect of this anesthesia, I got molested, groped, and so on and so on, right? And then these doctors were like, no, you just imagined it. Laughing gas makes you horny and hallucinate, so you just had horny hallucinations. And this is especially obvious because when you look into the history of laughing gas, right, it was said to incite sexual fantasies in young women specifically, right? So at this point, right, there's this cover story that's really fucking old, right? For these fucking doctors basically roofing to patients. And over time, it has become medical fact. This is the laughing gas conspiracy. So how come 2020 was the best year of my life? The simple answer is that all the other years have been worse. I can't remember when I was a kid, but I know that from the moment I went into school, I was suffering constantly. I had to work out, which was really painful for me and has always been really painful for me. I had to go to school where, as a kid, I always got bullied. I mean, I got bullied when I was going to my recreational activities too, but it was pretty severe everywhere. I didn't realize I was getting bullied, is the thing. I I couldn't conceptualize it. I was just like, okay, I need to beat these people physically. It was never like, oh, I'm subject to them. It's okay. There's a fight going on basically, and I'm losing, so I have to work out how not to lose. But then when I did work out how not to lose, the teachers at school condemned me for it. But anyway, school made my life miserable. Then I realized I was trans, and when puberty really started hitting me in a significant way, and that made my life even fucking worse. So I dropped out of school. I got an HRT, right, and that year was the first year in many years where I had felt kind of fine. But the issue is that school had given me friends, school had given me people I could talk to. I was only close with some of them for limited periods of time. But there were people in my life, and when I left school, I didn't have anyone. I had met some people online, but I was constantly lying to them because since I had constantly had bad experiences in my real life, people had always treated me as if I was an inconvenience and not a human. Because people like treating autistic children like their inconveniences. So since that's the way I was treated in real life, I had to make up personas that I really wasn't. So even though I started like knowing people online at that point, and I had known people online beforehand, but it was still when I was still in school, so the dynamic was completely different. Then when I became more familiar with people online under these hidden pretenses, because I wouldn't lie, I would just omit most details about myself. I only realized that we were friends a long time after I cut off contact with them because I had a constant complex that they found me annoying, they didn't like me. So I left and I was isolated again. Then I found new people who again I formed friendships with under completely incomplete information to the point that I didn't realize that we were friends way after. And that pattern kept repeating, so for all of this time I was facing different types of isolation. I was constantly driving myself insane with keeping up multiple personas at the same time. I had 6 or 7 personas at a specific point in time that I had to maintain. And then in 2019, I finally managed to collapse those personas. Now it was fucked up because that's when I also found out that this friend had betrayed me and had just revealed to them who I am as like actual person. That hurt a lot because for the first time someone knew who I was, but that someone was also someone who had harshly betrayed me. I had other friends. I had other friends who I was fine with, and that was good enough to recover. Then, once I didn't have a persona to upkeep anymore, I could finally make real human connections. Because it doesn't really matter how much shitty things are happening in your life. Like it sucks. It's awful. But with most things, it's easy to get past them when you have people who are in your corner, when you have people who are friends with you. So that's why 2020 was the best year of my life. And it's not like the coronavirus affected me. I was expecting it to be way worse. I'm a hermit anyway. And it was just a neutral experience, really. So I did suffer a lot in 2020, but I've suffered a lot in every year of my life. And I've never had people who I could truly say I was friends with to that extent. And I never had people who I could meet up with in real life and not worry about whether they're going to be disappointed by me. The problem isn't that conservatives claim to be punk rock. The problem isn't that Nazis claim to be punk rock. The problem is that you have let punk rock be something that Nazis and conservatives want to be. Stop fucking cancelling people on Twitter. Stop fucking running up to fucking cops to get people's fucking livelihoods removed. And fucking go smoke some fucking crack, overdose on heroin, and steal something. Welcome to Young Toadsmites Book Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about Fyodor Dostoevsky's work, Notes from the Underground. Now, before we get to the actual book, I want to talk a bit about my own life. So, I have never been able to relate to anyone really before last year, or 2019, which is a year ago now, or more than a year ago. I don't fucking know how time works. Anyway, until 2019, I've never really been able to relate to anyone. At the start of 2019, I got really into Digi, and being really into Digi allowed me to, like, first of all, I related to Digi a lot, and through Digi, I managed to find people I related to even more. But before that, I watched Welcome to the NHK, right? So these are people who are autistic, right? Who are hikikomoris or hermits, or just general needs, right? They're like away from society, right? They don't really interface that well with like normal people. They deal with like depression, anxiety, so on and so on, right? So these are really alienated people, and these are people who don't really want anything to do with like normie society and so on and so on, right? And at a certain point, I had not realized that this cultural phenomenon was really transcendental, let's say. I thought that this was a phenomenon that was really isolated to the modern age, right? This is a phenomenon that is kind of born out of the age of internet, right? Like you couldn't have a Digi before that, right? You couldn't have a Sato before that, but I was wrong. I was completely wrong. And such as like the ancient monk like hypothesis where like ancient monks were like neats and so on and so on. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about when I got really into Daniel Johnston. So when I got really into Daniel Johnston, it made me realize that someone who basically was interested in the same type of art as I was, let's say, and had like the same conceptions about the world existed before the internet. Now he didn't have as many options as we do now, right? So he recorded his podcasts as like audio diaries on like a cassette player, right? And his form of escapism was literally just running away to the circus, and he just generally just made his own music, right? And just used really innovative experimental ways of like creating music. And he also coupled that with like this really amateurish but confident artwork, right? So Daniel Johnston's entire entire body of work, right, is this really really expressive, really fascinating collection of someone's personal life, right? Because he didn't make art about like some like divine inspiration or some greater social point. His art all relates back to his own like personal life, right? Like the motifs he uses, the stories he tells, right, are all about him as a person and not about some giant transcendental experience. So I was like, okay, so this phenomenon, right, was possible at that time, right? But now, when I read Notes from the Underground, it describes a very similar person to me, and it's over 100 years ago, right? So now it's not autobiographical strictly. It's not really a real retelling of someone's actual life, right? It's a fictional character living a fictional life, but this fictional character has a lot of similarities to what we would consider like hikikomoris now, right? So this character has withdrawn from work, right? This character is perpetually poor and constantly asks other people for assistance, right? He doesn't like other people because he was always rejected by society and he was basically abandoned by his family, right? And since he has always had like these really negative experiences, and since he has always like been uh, cast aside by society, he doesn't feel anything other than like malice and spite towards like the world at large. And it's not like that he's blameless in this situation, right? It's not like he accidentally ended up in these situations. He deliberately constructed situations where he would suffer, right? He keeps making his own life significantly worse just out of spite, right? He Because he has been rejected by the world so persistently for his entire life, he deliberately just makes his own life worse due to spite. Now, this is really hard for him, right? Because, as he says, he's fundamentally a coward, right? He's a very anxious person. So for him, like drastically making his life worse, it's always a really really difficult thing to do. He has to go through and like giant ordeals to be able to like make his life significantly worse, and he spends sometimes like months planning out some way where he can just like implode upon himself, I guess. So he this is the type of person he is, right? And like there's a really resonant part of the book where he talks about basically like escapist power fantasies, right? Because he doesn't like being a human, he doesn't like existing in the real world. And at that point, right, there's no anime or fucking television, whatever the fuck, right, to escape into. So his escape is the realm of literature, right? He escapes into books, and there's one part of the book where he describes how he just imagines as like a power fantasy a situation where people suddenly realize, right, that he's this a great person, right? Because he's more intelligent than the people around him, right? He's often more capable of understanding like higher or smarter concepts than other people near him. So he has this idea that hey, at some point everyone will realize like what a great person I am, and then everyone will just accept that he's the most important person in the world, right? Which is basically just the premise of every isekai, right? This guy wants to be a part of an isekai. So, side note on isekais, real quick. Quick side note. I've lately been getting really into isekais, right? I've been reading a lot of isekai manga, and I've been just enjoying isekai a lot. So, oh fuck. Yeah, young Toadsmite, as a person of impeccable taste, right, as the arbiter of good taste, young Toadsmite, why are you into isekais? Yeah, it isn't characteristic of someone if such good taste is yours to be into isekais. Okay, I'm gonna explain it really quickly in real simple terms, right? Isekai has generally the same appeal to me as cute girls doing cute things shows, right? Where Isekai doesn't really have any conflict, right? There's no real conflict in Isekai. Sure, it tries to disguise itself as a body of like fiction or a book or a manga or an anime that has conflict within it. But due to the fundamental nature of Isekai, it is basically impossible for the main character to lose, right? Because the main character is a self-insert power fantasy. So if the main character lost, then the power fantasy would be broken, right? But the fact that it has no stakes means that it really has to adapt in its structure, right? So in every isekai, there's a fucking hell. In every isekai, there's a large cast of characters, right? And those characters all have the common trait that they're just nice, right? They're nice people. So this is the fundamental escapism of isekai to me. It's imagining that you're living in a world where everyone is nice to you, right? It's not really about the fact that you're important or you're powerful or you can save the world. The more compelling part to me as an escapist fantasy again is the fact that in isekais, everyone surrounding you is just a nice person. And your enemies, right? Your enemies are fundamentally bad people who don't have any redeeming qualities at the time that they're introduced, right? So the enemies might get more complex later on, but that's after they stop being enemies, basically. Because every enemy in an isekai has the potential to transform into a person who is just nice to you, right? So in an isekai, any enemy can just be a nice person towards you under the right conditions, right? So that's the appeal of isekais. It's just the way to win in an isekai is just to make people nice towards you. And as someone who has mostly only experienced like annoyance and contempt by most people around me, this type of escapist fantasy is really, really appealing to me. And again, the power fantasy, whatever the fuck, the idea that people can be nice to me, that's really like the appealing fantasy. So let's get back to Notes from the Underground, right? Let's discuss this book even further. So more than just being a book about like someone who's a bad person, like admittedly and really obviously a bad person, the book is like an exploration of how this type of person would communicate, right? And because the book functions this way, it's basically like a Tenpa vlog, right? Because it's from the first person perspective, right? It's someone who ostensibly has a diary, right? Because the guy, the protagonist, says that he lives in the underground, right? Which is his his metaphor for retreating from society, right? And he's writing from the perspective of being in the underground, and he's basically just detailing his own personal history, his philosophy, how he thinks that basically everyone is wrong, and no one really knows how to make the world better, right? And he's criticizing various hierarchies. Uh, he's like fucking uh, talking about social systems and so on and so on and so on, right? And it's a really Tenpa vlog type uh, experience, right? Because he's melding together these philosophical concepts and this contemporary commentary with his own personal life, and he's using that to make like larger societal points. But then the book transitions into just telling stories about his life, and those two are like kind of formatted and presented in the same way that like a Tenpa vlog would be, because these are like brutally honest retellings of really uncomfortable and unpleasant situations, right? So the overall experience of Notes from the Underground is basically the same experience as you would get from a Tenpa vlog. So I found this book like really interesting, not because it's just a good book, right? Not because the character is very relatable, but rather because the entire way the book is presented is the same way I've been presenting myself for basically a year now. And that's a really interesting experience. I would definitely suggest that everyone reads this book because it's a great book. It's really informative. It gives great historical perspective, and you might learn something about yourself, right? Because the book explores concepts that might be really relevant to you if you're like also like a hikikomori with these massive personality issues and so on and so on. And yeah, the great book, would recommend. The year is 2013. You're on YouTube and you see all of these scene and emo people, and no one around you is like that anymore. No one you know is like that. You just see this historical record of people who existed in this strange fashion just a few years before you saw them. The year is 2015. You're listening to Johnny Hobo, and you're kind of ashamed that you're listening to folk punk. It's not acceptable enough to be like a mainstream form of music. You're not listening to whatever is popular, but it's not hardcore and underground like all the cool punk rock is. So you're stuck in this place where you're just listening to this unique music that defines you in ways you don't even know how yet. The year is 2017. You spent the last 2 years being bombarded with fascistic propaganda, and you're starting to agree with some of it. You're starting to accept some of it. Maybe you're already a fascist, but if not, you just have some fascist friends and you just agree with some of the things you're saying. The year is 2019. You don't have a movement, you don't have a purpose, and you're starting to get old. You're starting to grew up and have to think about your future. The year's 2021, and you're here watching a Dotesmite video. You probably don't know anything that's happening, you don't know what's gonna happen in your future. You have no plans, no desires, no ambitions because you were conditioned to have dreams and ambitions, whatever the fuck, right? But you always knew that that wasn't possible in this world, right? And you knew that especially it was never going to be possible for you. So you're watching this Toadsmite video and you're watching me sit here drinking. Or maybe not, maybe you didn't go through any of it, maybe this is a just a video for you, maybe you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe you've never been through any of this, and that's completely fine. That's completely fine. I want to talk about how I ended up this way. Like, young dudes might. What had to happen to you that you don't care about anyone and want all humans to die? Dudes might, why are you like this? Why do you not want to contribute to society, young dudes might? Why do you want to just fucking destroy everything? What's your problem? My problem simply is that no one ever treated me like a person, right? People go oh, people rely on their entire society. Like, look, people rely on each other. People rely on everyone. The way to have a good society is if people are nice to each other, so on and so on and so on, right? But that's just not how it works. It's just something people use to guilt you into being nice to them. Because none of these people were ever nice to me. No one around me. Like I've talked about this before, but when I was a kid, right, everyone treated me as if I was like an obstacle or an annoyance. No one treated me as if I was a person, right? And then my parents were surprised, right, after treating me basically just as if I was like an obstacle for them to control, basically. Like, after spending their entire life never trying to raise me in any meaningful way, and always just restricting behaviors they thought were bad, right? And so they were surprised when I kept telling them that I'm not gonna support them and that the only thing I want is to be able to get a job and move out as fast as possible. But why would they have been surprised? They never gave me another option. Now after I moved out, things were different, right? After I spent a good amount of time living on my own, things started changing. My parents started realizing how badly they had fucked up, right? And they started regretting their actions, right? And started realizing that, hey, if you behave this way towards a person, that's not gonna end up with like good results, right? So now I'm not expected to do anything anymore. Now I'm not expected to be anyone, and I have no reason to even try it at this point. And I'm in an enviable situation. Many people would be glad if they could live like me. But I'm fucking miserable, right? I don't have anything going on in my life, but that means I don't have anything going on in my life. You know, like there's not even an inclination within me that something is going to change. There's not even an inclination in me that things are gonna get better or get worse or whatever. Even though they probably are, things always change, right? Like I have no real reason to assume that things would change. So I'm just in a stasis, right? Just in a stasis and in an existence I can't justify, and I've stopped trying to. Nothing I can possibly do will make me happy. Nothing can bring me meaning or satisfaction. I can just distract myself from like how badly I don't want to be alive. And I don't know how much of this could have been avoided. I don't know how much I was just doomed to be this way. I know how much I was just like inevitably going to have a bitter sense of resentment and apathy towards the world and nothing more. But I know for a fact that it didn't help, that no one just fucking treated me like a human. And then people expect me to start acting like one, right? People start expecting you to be like, oh, we never treated you like a human, but when it's beneficial to us, you need to act like one, right? But it's too late. It's way too fucking late, right? Like if you've never shown me empathy, if you've never treated me well, then why should I do that for you? Why should I treat you any differently than how you've treated me for my entire fucking life, right? People expect it to, right? People expect it to suddenly shift and go. I appreciate getting mistreated for my entire life. I'm actually thankful that I've had an entire life of fucking abuse by everyone in my life, by my fucking school, by my neighbors, by other kids my age. I should be thankful for that, and I should want to contribute to society. Even though society has provided me nothing other than fucking abuse for my entire fucking life, right? I should care about the greater good. I should care about what some fucking faggot on the other side of the world feels. I should care about social issues. I should not say nigga, I should not say faggot, I should not say retard, right? Because that's bad for society, because everyone should be welcome in society. You can't use exclusionary language. You can't use language that might upset some people. What the fuck are you talking about? I've never been included in your fucking society. I've never been included in any part of your fucking society. And now I need to include others? Where should I include them in? My fucking miserable den of abject fucking despair? Or you need to be included here? Oh, you need to not be made uncomfortable when you're looking at a person who has spent the vast majority of their life suicidal. But no, you can't be made uncomfortable. You can't just have someone whose entire life has been one long fucking pointless, meaningless, depressive episode. You can't have that person be offensive. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You get to ruin my life and then fucking act like I need to have morals or principles or beliefs. No, I've fucking experienced the world without any of those, right? People never had morals or principles when it came to acting in regards to me. People didn't consider my feelings when they fucking just kept harassing me and abusing me for my entire fucking life. Now I need to care about your fucking feelings. Now I need to care about some fucking other people's feelings. I don't. I genuinely don't. Oh, it's sociopathic. Well, if it's sociopathic, then you people have been sociopathic towards me for my entire fucking life. And I'm not gonna fucking I'm not gonna fucking change. I'm gonna be 6 years old and there are gonna be kids on my fucking lawn and I'll tell those kids to get the fuck off my lawn. That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna change.
1,000 miles away. Memories made in the coldest winter. Goodbye, my friend. Will I ever love again? Memories made in the coldest winter.
So, how has 2021 been for young Toads, mate? Because I started making this video on the 1st of January. Well, technically it was the 2nd of January because on the morning of the 2nd, I guess, or the night of the 1st at around 2 a.m. I went right here where I am right now. I climbed on top of this hill. Oh fuck. It's kind of hard, it's really slippery right now. I went here. I'm gonna turn my flash on so it's actually visible. There are these garages or not garages. What are they called? And I remembered the word yesterday. I didn't remember the word today. Anyway, there are these sheds, yeah, that have roofs, right? One shed is higher than the others. And then I went here and I recorded the intro. Now, it's not just that I picked a random spot to record an intro. Do you see the anarchy symbol there? I graffitied that, I think, around 5 years ago. At that point, somewhere around 5 years ago. So I came back here because I thought it would be like a really cool intro to this video. So I came here, I spray painted, and then I went and left. It was a quick endeavor, but it made for a really, really cool, introductory cinematic. That was just a really, really cool thing, and I really enjoyed making it. So yeah, that's how the intro got made, and the intro was the first part of the video I actually made, right? Because one day I got this idea when I was watching Cave Girl, I think is the account name. I don't remember what the account is called. It's something like Cave Girl. Anyway, no thank you. One of my pretty good friends linked me a video by this account right now. It was pretty cool. It had one of his songs in it, which is why he found it in the first place. And I saw that video and I was like, why haven't I made any videos that's just me being cool, right? Because all of my videos kind of focus on my own failures as a person or artist or whatever, or my journey or whatever the fuck you wanna call it. I'm trying not to use some pretentious fucking pussy language, but it's just the thing I detail generally is my own evolution, right? So I thought, hey, why not make a video that's just, hey, look, I'm young Toads, mate, and I'm kinda epic, right? So it had to have that intro, right? It had to set the tone with that intro. And then it was a reflective video. And just, I don't fucking know why it was. It's just, I kept adding to the video, I kept editing and re-editing and just generally shifting things around. Until I got the video you just saw, right? It wasn't planned, but it wasn't spontaneous, I had a really, a strong idea of everything I wanted to say. I knew exactly what I wanted to go over, and I managed to do all of it. And it was just weird how easy it was to, it took a lot of time, but at the same time it wasn't it took that much more effort. It's just things like this, are just things you need to do slowly, I guess, over time. like I made an entire like original AMV for this video, right? And it wasn't that much effort. It was just like, hey, one day I had to set like an hour aside to make this fucking AMV. I wish I could upload the original version, but it gets taken down on YouTube, and I don't really care enough to put it like up on as a torrent because it's not that exceptional, and the version in the video should have been like sufficient, I guess. Like I'm not gonna bother unless like people in the comments go like, hey, I wanna see the original fucking video, and I might put it up on Mega if like fucking people really wanna see it. I just heard something. I think it was a dog, probably. Maybe it was a person. I don't fucking know. But yeah, like it's just weird because like for this one time, I didn't make a video to emulate like anyone else, because usually when I make like a big video, like generally a big project, it's because I want to emulate something someone else has done in like my own way, because I can't really make anything derivative, right? But like most of my big videos are just like, I saw a no thank you video and I thought, hey look, that's one of the coolest videos I've ever seen. I have to go and make a really cool video myself now. Or when I'm making Yashi base, it's like, hey, young Ethernet constantly talks about how cool like Little B's long fucking mixtapes are. So I need to make my own long fucking mixtape to impress young Ethernet and my other friends and so on and so on. So it's all like this fucking, like this is just generally my pattern of behavior, right? And yeah, like fucking when I wrote my book about Digi's music, I was directly inspired by the fucking music itself, you know. Like I just listened to the music and I was like, okay, I have to explain the emotions I have about this like fucking music. Like, yeah, so that's where that came from. So I've told this anecdote on my channel before, I'm pretty sure, and multiple times, I think too. But this is the playground I used to go to when I was a kid, right? Like this isn't the part of town where I live, or rather lived as a kid. When I was living alone when I was a hikikomori, right? Which, yeah, the hikikomori series is continuing. I just stopped smoking, so I need to find a new gimmick to fucking tell those stories. But yeah, anyway, this playground, I used to come from my part of the city. I used to come over here, and there were like friends I had here. It was kind of like an insane thing to me, because I didn't really have that many friends. That like, I mean, I had like one good friend, but like that was basically it when I was going to like kindergarten and so on and so on. So when I came here, I had like actual friends, and it was really cool, and I really enjoyed the time I spent here when I was like really, really young, right? Really young. But then one of the people threw a rock into the window of that building over there, and then I got so fucking paranoid that I never came back, because I've just always been a really, really anxious person. But you can stop watching the video now. It's just gonna be me taking a night walk, right? The content is over. Like all the cool stuff is done. I don't have anything else to fucking. I don't have any other point to make. I don't have anything else to prove. I'm just taking a fucking night walk, and you're just coming along with me. So yeah. What else? Oh yeah, to fucking... In the video, right, it doesn't really show the extremity of my sick arc, right, because I was, at like one point of the month, I was really paranoid that I would be unable to finish the video because I was too sick, right? Because at the start of the month, like a few days into it, I started getting sick, right? So when I put out the trailer, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put out the trailer, and I'm just gonna finish the video. I'm giving myself more than enough time, right? I have so much fucking time to finish the video. Turned out I didn't have so much time because I didn't get better for a long while. And like the clips aren't in chronological order, like perfectly. They're roughly chronological, but they're not exactly chronological. So yeah, like I was sick for a long time, and you just saw like the intro where I was in my bed with my ThinkPad. But like that was my life for like a longest time. That was just how I existed for a while. And like this video was like, I don't know if the vaping arc. Yeah. This video was through like my vaping arc and my Monster Energy arc and like all that stuff, which are over now. I just take caffeine pills. Like no, thank you. I just take caffeine pills and L-theanine pills, and yeah, that's just what I do. Also, this anarchy symbol here, also made by me. I think maybe. No. I don't think. I think I was just present for it. I think it's made by me. Maybe it is. I fucking. I forget sometimes. But yeah. Like, fucking. Yeah, I was sick for a long time. I was sick for a fucking long time. And I've also been like perpetually just tired, like even more so than usual. It's gotten better because now I'm again taking those caffeine pills, and unlike like energy drinks, they're really easy to consume. They don't take like that much of a toll on you, right? It's not like you're like ingesting like fake sugar, which like fires up your metabolism because it expects real sugar, and then you don't have any real sugar in your system, so you just kind of feel miserable and shit, right? Like nothing like that happens. It's just, hey, look, I have caffeine now, and if you take it twice a day, you have 12 hours of like caffeinated existence, and you don't have to drink anything. And two issues like the come down at 10 of the 12th hour, basically, where I start coming down really, really hard. And no, thank you telling me to drink some green tea. So I think I might go and drink some green tea and become like a tea drinker. Because it would be really, really helpful. Oh, the river is frozen over. The river over here, like, sometimes gets frozen over, and the last time it got frozen over, or maybe not the last time, but like, when I was still living here and being a hikikomori, this river got frozen over for like a really long time because it was a really, really harsh winter. And during that winter, because I'm an absolute fucking retard, right? I didn't properly maintain my like fucking furnace, or because it was like a wood-fired like heating system, right? You had to burn wood, right? And the thing with those types of like heating systems, when you have a furnace, is that you need to maintain it consistently. So it was like one of the harshest winters, and I was too depressed and generally just in a horrible place to actually maintain it. So I was just freezing at home, and then this river was frozen, and I got to go over it by foot once because I was too scared before. And then I was like, I don't want to miss this chance, right? I can just cross this river on foot, and that will be like a really cool thing that happened. So I did it once, and I don't have any regrets. But yeah, no, it maybe I'm thinking of the other winter. Maybe I'm thinking of the winter where I don't actually know. Because I think I spent 2 winters at that place, or maybe I didn't. No. I'm confusing myself right now. Because I know for a fact, right, that I lived alone for a year. And I moved out in the fall. So yeah, it couldn't have been 2 winters. I think I might have gotten like a handle on the situation eventually. But I don't remember. No, I didn't get a handle over it. Yeah, right, so that was the winter where my friend came over and we hung out, and we just spent so much time just fucking on the couch and shit that it didn't feel that cold. Yeah, that was a fucking time. I wish, like, the more and more I think about it, the more I realize that, like, that specific person might have been like as fucking dumb as it is to say, right? Because I fucked up my relationship with this person by thirsting after him. And I fucking told the story. You can fucking go look at all my friends with depression. Like, again, I told you, no content here. This is just me taking a fucking night walk. Whatever comes out, comes out. But yeah, like, as time goes on, and as I find out more about myself, right, I'm realizing that this person is probably like the most romantically like compatible person I've ever met. And when we used to talk about the fact that like a long time ago, a really long time ago, like 6 years ago now, something like that, 5-6 years ago, he used to say like, hey, I was like constantly like, yeah, I think we'll probably end up together if like we don't end up with anyone else. And he was like, yeah. And as time goes on, it seems more and more true, because the context has changed completely, because I've completely changed as a person, and I'm much older now. I'm much more mature. And as I grow older, I realize that was basically just like the fucking ideal thing for me. But like, again, it was impossible. I fucked it up myself. I don't expect anything, you know. It's not even my place to expect anything. So it's just a thing that passed me by. Fuck, I can't even talk right now. But yeah, like, I don't know, it's just fucking, it's an escapist fantasy, right? Because like, if you ever meet someone who you think that you're like truly compatible with, right? Even if like connecting with that person is impossible, it's always like, hey, you can meet someone else. Although I don't know if I ever will. Like, that was just like a fucking perfect storm that was too fucking perfect. And I didn't even realize who I was, so it fucking sucks. I'm also getting really fat lately. I'm getting like really, really fat. Like, I'm genuinely fucking like getting obese again. So I'm just a fucking fat ass right now. I really need to start losing weight. Like, genuinely, it's just I don't fucking want to. I mean, I've been feeling my appetite go away in the past few days. So I don't have like when I get sick, I get like this compulsion to eat a lot. And my appetite has been going away, so I can just start losing weight, but it's a fucking chore. Like, it's it's a thing that happens so slowly, right, that it's impossible to be satisfied with it, like, no matter what you do. And it's just okay, like, I just spent like 6 months fucking losing all this weight, right, and it was a fucking sucky experience. So what do you get to do now? Have it slightly less suck, you know, or just get fat again. It's a fucking endless cycle. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go through it again. I'm just gonna have to fucking lose some fucking weight. Like, there's just like no fucking way around it. Also, ever since I stopped drinking regularly, I've been feeling lucid again. Because over the course of the last year, I constantly kept talking about how I feel like I'm like less and less lucid and coherent, and like I was like, oh, I think I might be going insane. No, it was just that I was constantly drinking, so I didn't really have like the type of clarity of mind that I generally would have. Oh, have I even explained why I stopped drinking on camera? I don't think I have. But yeah, at the end of November, I stopped being able to like use alcohol as I was before. Because before I wouldn't even get like proper hangovers and like any negative like effects from alcohol. But then I suddenly started getting like more and more negative effects from it. And alcohol use started becoming like more and more inconvenient. So I had to stop drinking. Like it was just making me more depressed. It was making me unable to function. And at the end of it, what happened is I just was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. So I spent a few days just without any substances, and it was really fucking painful. But then one day I was like, hey, what if I had like a smoke and an energy drink? Because that was like the point in time where I had like started like smoking again a bit, like mostly like record videos, like generally. Because I think I started smoking because I was like, hey, look, this will go really nice with alcohol. And then I stopped being able to like drink, so I just mostly like smoked to make videos. I think that's what happened. I'm not really sure. Because it's a really cool aesthetic, you know, when you combine it with like a night, like a nighttime setting. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Like when you find a cool place at night, you have like this tiny little light you can like wave around. And making those videos was really, really fun. But yeah, smoking quickly became too inconvenient because I had to like, when I was in like a call with a friend, I would have to be like, okay, I'm gonna go outside, have a smoke, right? Because I couldn't drink, so I had to go and have a smoke, right? And when I was drinking energy drinks, it was like, hey, look, I have to fucking drink this entire fucking can of like, God knows what, right? And it was just fucking inconvenient as fuck. So I switched over to vaping, found out that vaping is also really inconvenient because vapes are really fucking delicate, right? They constantly fuck up, you have to constantly like fucking fine tune them. It's just not fucking fun to use. It's just a fucking hassle, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna fucking stop vaping. And then a bit after that, I was like, I'm also gonna stop drinking energy drinks because I felt myself getting addicted, right? And I felt myself heading towards a place where I would not be able to control my energy drink consumption. So my accent is really strong today. I think it's because it's like really late and I'm pretty tired. But yeah, like I stopped drinking energy drinks. I'm trying to get graffiti to show up on the camera. Anyway, fuck. Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go drink some alcohol again. I meant to have focus now. Fucked up. Anyway, there's graffiti over there that says, open your fucking eyes. And I thought that was really cool. So I wanted to fucking film it, but like, turns out the universe hates me. I guess I'm not fucking filming it. Actually, fuck it, I'm just gonna fucking cross the fucking street. But yeah, I stopped consuming energy drinks and I was like, okay, I'm gonna drink alcohol instead. Then I got my first real hangover, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna drink alcohol instead, because that fucking sucked. That was a fucking awful experience. Oh, there's some fucking thing going on. Anyway, that's the graffiti there. It's really fucking cool, especially because, as you can see, it's in a precarious location, right? It's not somewhere you can just easily go. So someone fucking scaled this wall, right? Just to fucking scribble that. And that's like my favorite kind of graffiti. Just this kind of fucking like nihilist graffiti, you know? I'm just fucking... I've really been obsessed with the concept of nihilism. Because like multiple friends have like tried to have like moral discussions with me lately, and I'm just like this type of framework just doesn't work for me, right? Like no matter how you frame something. I can't fucking go like, oh yeah, this moral principle is so fucking important. I'm so fucking enthralled by your fucking made up bullshit fucking morals, right? Oh, killing people is bad because fucking elaborate justification for like some fucking evolutionary fucking impulse or some symptom of being fucking too complacent in a world that's like pretending to be built for humans, right? But yeah, it's like fucking it's been a whole fucking thing, right? And every time someone tries to go like, oh, young Toastmate, why are you a nihilist, right? I have to try to explain like, hey, like nihilism doesn't need justification in the same way that like other philosophies might, right? It's not like nihilism makes any statements. What nihilism does instead, right, is it goes like, hey, I don't believe in like any of your fucking statements, right? It goes like, hey, I'm not gonna accept any of this, right? Because, well, like conventional morality and philosophy in society wants you to accept, right? Is that there are like sides and they need to take one, right? But like everything has the same assumption, right? Everything has the same assumption that like, look, here are things that are like sacred, here are things that are like important. And then it's just like, you can be a nihilist and you can be like, lol, I just killed some fucking cops, right? To me, what makes by far the most sense is if you don't like make any like huge fucking contrivances for like why human psychology is fucked up, right? And then you go just like, yeah, fuck, none of it matters, and like trying to fucking justify it in any way, right, requires like a fundamental acceptance that to be human or that to be alive is just fundamentally important, right? It doesn't even matter if you're like an anti-natalist or like whatever, right? Like if you're an anti-natalist for like moral reasons, not just anti-natalist because you think that's correct, right? If you're morally an anti-natalist, right, it means that you think that human existence is so important that it needs to be avoided, right? Because like human suffering and so on and so on and so on, right, is like such a fucking big deal that it's worthwhile trying to avoid it. But like from my perspective, like it doesn't fucking matter, right? If you want to have a kid, fucking go for it, right? If you're my friend, I'll be happy for you. Why? Because I'm a fucking human, right? It doesn't make sense. It's not something I control. I just like when my friends are happy. And if what makes them happy is something that's just the source of all suffering, right, I don't fucking care. They're adults. They can make their own decisions. And if those decisions are to have children, I don't fucking care. Right, because it's like, you believe in some fucking sacred right to make decisions. No, I fucking don't. Like, that's the fucking point. Like, it's just that I trust him to know that you're not gonna fuck up too bad, you know? Because if I didn't trust him, I wouldn't be friends with him, right? Like, maybe they could fuck up, right? That's a possibility, and that's a possibility I'm aware of, right? And maybe at some point, right, I'll be like 35 years old and I'll be like, yo, you really fucked up with your kid, right? And then I don't fucking know how they'd respond. I don't fucking know. The world is complicated. The world is really fucking complicated. Like, I'm not gonna fucking make any like normative statements about anything. I'm not gonna fucking go like, oh, this is how things ought to be, or this is how like fucking life should work. Because no one decides that, right? Like philosophers don't decide how life should work, right? Because like philosophy and morality and fucking politics and so on and so on and so on are just like always explanations for like something that is convenient for power. It doesn't matter if like what's convenient is like socialism or capitalism or monarchy or whatever the fuck, right? It's always gonna be like that philosophy is going to justify it, you know? And morality is there to like tell you why like this is important. Like even when you spend your entire time like going against the status quo, right? Even when you only engage with philosophy to go against the status quo, you're already in a framework where the status quo has like some inherent degree of sacredness, right? Where the status quo, right, is something you need to criticize, right? So like that's why I don't like like a lot of postmodernist philosophy, right? Because it's just really fucking self-important, right? Like when I think about philosophy, what I want is you to just be like, yeah, I don't give a single fuck, right? The status quo isn't important. It doesn't need to be defended or attacked, right? I'm just gonna tell you why I think pipe bombs are really cool, right? So that's what I like in philosophy. And when philosophy becomes like this like entire game, like I'm not saying I'm right again, like this is just my perspective, right? Because like the game of philosophy, you know, the like exercise and art of it, right, isn't something I'm like particularly interested in, right? I'm not interested in like, hey look, here I'm gonna create like a response to a colleague and get like what that colleague thinks, and then I'm like gonna fucking recontextualize some fucking fact to demonstrate some fucking thing that I posit, right? I never really cared too much like for that. But what I like is when philosophy is completely like self-indulgent and pointless and just a complete like abnegation of any notion of like sanctity, you know. I like when philosophy is just like something that doesn't try to justify anything, something that doesn't try to be something that is justified and is content with just being like some absurd fucking emergent phenomenon, right? Because like this is the thing that I've really been trying to get through to some people, is that humans aren't in control, right? Humans don't control the world. Like the world controls humans, right? There's no single person who makes important decisions, right? It doesn't matter if you're like the fucking president of the United States. It doesn't matter if you hold like a fucking political office, right? None of that is like really relevant. Because like as long as you're a human and you live in a world, what's gonna happen is you're gonna be subject to it, right? It's just like your environment controls you, right? This is a really important truth to me, and it's really hard for some people to like understand it, right? Because you do have a choice of where you are, right? You do have a choice over your environment, but you don't have a choice over like being affected by it. So you can always leave a bad environment for a better one, but what that's gonna do is just make you like affected by a different environment, right? You can never really fully like control the world, right? No matter who you are, no matter how much power you have, no matter how much like fucking influence you have, and so on, you're always gonna be a subject to the world and your own psychology, and so on, right? Like control is entirely an illusion. Like no one has ever fucking made a single decision. And I fucking believe that. So I don't think there's any like worth in trying to make good decisions, you know. I don't think there's any worth in trying to like live a good life or make yourself happy. I think what has worth is just accepting that you're gonna be alive for a very limited amount of time, and you just have to you just have to decide how you want to live, and then you have to decide how you want to die, right? And you don't get a choice in either, but you can influence it like a tiny bit. You can stack the odds like ever so slightly in your own favor. And yeah, that's my belief system right now, I guess. It's not fucking not gonna be like, oh, this is like a great manifesto. This is just like these are just like fucking emotions I have, and these are just like fucking thoughts and feelings and so on and so on I wanted to fucking express. Like in the first part, I originally wanted to have like more songs, right? I originally wanted to have like a wider selection of songs and have them expressed in like a more like fucking varied way. Or varied? I don't fucking know how to pronounce that. But then it didn't work out. It sounded like shit to be constantly hopping from like one song to a second song. So it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna have these fucking specific songs, and I'm gonna like position them and so on and so on. I just fucking fucked around until they sounded decent. So that's how that got made. And here I recorded my fucking statement, I guess, where I was talking about how I don't feel like anything around me is connected to me. Like, I don't really feel like the things around me are like a part of me, you know? Like, I've had my dog, like, this is just an example. I've had my dog for like 5 years now, I think. Or 4 years. 4 or 5 years, but yeah. And still, to this day, I don't really feel that, like, my dog is like a part of me. It's always like it's like a transient phenomena, right? And then my friends, right, also kind of feel like they're transient phenomena. And then the final thing, the final statement is my own like life has felt entirely that it is like one of those transient phenomena, right, again. And it's like, if all of these things are transient, what are they transient in comparison to, right? Do I feel like the things happened to me when I was a kid happened to me? Not really, right? As a teenager? Not really, right? So it's just I've always been in a state where I've experienced everything as a transient like phenomena. And I experienced my past also as a transient phenomena, right? And there's always been this idea, right? This like perfected ideal of myself and my surroundings, right? As a permanent entity, right? It doesn't exist in reality. It doesn't even exist in my mind in like a solid format or solid form. But what does exist, you know, is like the idea that it should exist, you know. Like that there's like a person who is toad smite, who doesn't switch from personality to personality, and who doesn't like just suddenly like smell like a different person, right? Because what I've been realizing lately, I made a whole chart about it, it's fucking kinda dumb, is that sometimes I will randomly like smell a smell and then become a person I used to be, right? But all of those people are the fucking same person. And I'm just really fucking disassociated but in like different ways. So yeah, that's something I've been fucking realizing. So I'm just a really inconsistent person. I just have a really inconsistent personality, and that's fine. And I'm used to things being like really temporary, like always. And I'm used to the idea that I'm just gonna fucking die like any day now. But seems like that isn't happening. Seems like I'm gonna survive for like a while longer. So I just guess it's time to like accept that the present exists and it's just not like a fucking nebulous transcendental fucking time shift that I'm going through. Like I'm actually thinking things, I'm actually feeling things, and it's not like something that's imposed upon me. It's just who I am, you know. Yeah, those are my thoughts, and I know I know I'm just like fucking like doubling the size of this video, right? This fucking night walk is like as long as I call the fucking actual video was, you know. But like it's a big Smith video. It has to be over an hour, you know. And if the last 40 minutes is just a fucking comfy night walk vlog, then I'm fine with that.